For the last 2 weeks, I have been on a journey south from my home in the top of New Zealand. We've come this far over the last 2 weeks to run an incredible 3-day event. This is really just preparation for the big one. I can't wait. It's gonna be such an exciting adventure. I think it's been such a fantastic experience of seeing new parts of New Zealand, new landscapes, how agroforestry can fit into different areas. I visited multiple agroforestry sites. We've done some consulting, lakes, rivers, beautiful beaches. Here on the west coast, it's absolutely beautiful. There's these awesome caves and rock structures that remind me of the coast in Oregon, actually. Just a guess, those are the Three Sisters. All right, I've been wanting to get these for a while, especially when I was in Brazil. The dust was crazy and I just can't ever feel like I breathe well through my nose. Like if I just pull my nose up, I breathe so well. And it's just getting to the point where it's really frustrating. And so I got these nose strips. Oh my God. I can breathe. Like for real. Deviated septum. That might be it. I don't know what that means, but that might be us. Up to 31% more airflow. I'm gonna just wear this all day. Don't care. Just today, I hit 101,000 followers on Instagram. You show up consistently, you just keep putting in the effort, the results will come. But it's cool to have the opportunity to reach that many people and share what I care about. I'm excited the most about the YouTube content, so I'm gonna keep investing there. Here, I'm bringing an editor and videographer with me to Costa Rica, to Florida, to Brazil to help me process the content quicker, because last time I was in South America, I just didn't have the opportunity to edit and process as much of the videos I wanted. I would have loved to be able to put out a video every couple days of what I was doing, because it was all incredible high value stuff, and so that's the aim this time around, is to be able to share a lot more consistently. For this 3-week period where I'm down in the South Island or heading down that way now, start getting some of those systems in place, just go on another kind of test run, just getting ready for a big adventure. The Pioneers group is kicking off so well. I'm loving just pouring everything into this incredible group of people who are starting their own food forest businesses all around New Zealand, Australia, Malaysia, Taiwan. A bunch of them are going to Brazil. Life is just superb right now, and a big part of it is just leaning into the universe. This wasn't part of the big master plan, but the universe tells you what you need to do. And sometimes it's just that thing in the back of your head that you know, I need to do this thing, I need to go in this direction. Follow that instinct. Love visiting a good natural history museum. Most fun way to learn about the history of a place and to see, and from one perspective, how things came to be the way they are. Great inspiration for creating an agroforestry themed nature center too.
So yeah, I'm Kev. I'm an ex-dairy farmer. Always been interested in food forests, but never really knew what to do, where one was or anything like that. Later on, I came across Byron and saw what he was doing with the food forests and the syntropic systems.
Who's heard that word, syntropic?
You'll soon suss that out. When you come and have a look, you'll sort of see, and I'd like to make that into a demonstration site in Taranaki so that people like you guys can come and have a look and go, okay, I see how this is working, and hopefully be inspired to do something similar.
Kev's the man. He's part of the Food Forest Pioneers program, and that's part of what I'm doing here. Is we co-hosted an event over the weekend where people came and learned about food forests, and then they got to see an example, a demonstration of syntropic agroforestry, the only example that I know of in New Plymouth. So 5-month-old systems here. He's been learning tons online. He came to one of the courses, and he's really just applying things absolutely beautifully. You can see the eucalyptus, the bananas, organic material along the edges.
Awesome. Cheers, mate. It's all learning. I've made a couple of mistakes along the way, but you know, that's how you learn, isn't it?
Well done, man.
Yeah, cheers, thanks for coming down. Yeah.
What a beautiful part of the country that I've never been to before. There's probably millions of places just like this. Extraordinarily beautiful. Bridge, bike path, awesome. A whalebone or a DNA helix or a wave. Very cool. We just landed at a community orchard. Fruit trees everywhere. There's people harvesting, there's kids, there's people taking bags of fruit that's just abundant for the community.
But yeah, most people are held to ransom by supermarkets, you know, so yeah, it changed, so they only know how to buy apples in a bag that are off a shelf. and they're probably sprayed, and the ground that they're growing a lot of things on is thrashed.
Well, synthetic fertilizer
Yeah.
will fix all that.
Yeah. Right. It's really hard when you think about it to actually get good food.
Yeah.
Just found a new kind of passion fruit, not sure what kind this is. It had really narrow leaves, kind of like the vanilla passion fruit. I've never seen this before though. Red insides, quite small, a lot more mellow. Yeah, that's interesting. Definitely gonna save the seeds.
I feel quite strongly about this, and the feedback that I get from clients, like this isn't just an internal like feel-good thing for me. It's like a lot of people go to other, whether it's permaculture designers, agroforestry designers, and they say, we couldn't stand it. Their process was dead. After looking at what the other designers provided them with, the maps, the appendixes, the 40-page briefings, it's a dead design process. It's a copy-paste, fill in a little bit of the details for your particular context and send it away. And that's not what clients want. It was another late night with the food forest pioneers. This evening was all about the design process. Incredible session. These guys are committed every week for this 6-week boot camp, diving super deep into each of these topics around creating your business, doing the consulting, installation processes. They're already getting projects, they're getting people organized to do events, they're getting people reaching out to them. It's really amazing how quickly these guys are seeing progress. Really proud of these guys. Once you find your people who can support you, that's the analogy with the jiu-jitsu training, is that we're all there to sharpen each other, and just like that, we're all here to sharpen each other's skills in food forest design and be in that journey and that process together. Huge shout out to them. Made it to Whanganui last night. Stayed right here. Yeah, it's a beautiful place, beautiful river. This morning, I was a panelist during a Zoom call with Scott Gallant. He was basically sharing about agroforestry in Costa Rica that he's practicing, preparing for this 2-week Syntropic PDC that I'm going to be attending and speaking at. It's going to be a fun day. We're going to find some cool stuff to do here around Whanganui. Continue making our way south towards Wellington. Let's go. I knew I was coming to Whanganui. Could not miss this place.
Hey brother.
On Instagram, his stuff is amazing. He grows incredible fruits. He's just gotten into the Syntropic agroforestry in the last handful of months, right?
Yep.
And he's just gone super hard. Epic species in here.
13 types of bananas through here now, 40 types growing on the property all up. We've got 50 odd jaboticaba through here. Exotic fruiting trees that we're trialing, using the high density to trial fruit trees to see how they go, and if they don't go well, we've got things planted next to them that will grow well. We've had black sapote in the ground now for a while. I've figured out that they do well here, so I've got a couple hundred of those ready in our breeding programs to go out in a high density system out the back.
You can tell he's the man. Cool.
Thanks, man.
Let's keep diving in. That's the big question, is everybody wants to know if mangoes will grow here in New Zealand, so. Friendly kitty.
That's Frank. This is one I developed, so it produces purple fruit, purple mountain papaya fruit.
Yo, so how'd you develop that?
Just cross-pollinating. I have a lot of mentors that work with me, so I'm pretty early stages, but I've had a lot of help from people out there that have quite a lot more experience than me, that have been doing this for a long time, so I just networked, seeked them out and wanted to absorb as much knowledge as possible from them.
Sounds like there's definitely scope for us to do something in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely,
The
man.
agroforestry combined with the plant breeding and just the diversity that you're collecting.
Oh, 100%, I'll be so interested.
Yeah.
So I like to keep track of the bananas. They're all labelled and they're being trialled. So we've got ag research, they come through and have a look on this every now and then.
Yeah, well.
And so they're being trialled to see how they perform in our climate here.
Man, you're doing really important research here.
I'm kind of just like the cowboy of it all, and
Yeah.
then I pass on all the information to the real scientists.
Part of inspiring people to grow more is like showing them these awesome things that you can grow here, or
Yeah.
interesting new things. I think that gets a lot of people interested in growing, is seeing something really interesting or unique and then realizing there's a whole world to explore. Like, oh, I can grow this and this. Turn around, they're like, I'm a plant addict now.
That's really it. Like, heaps of friends have come up and seen bananas and pineapples fruiting outdoors, and they're mind blowing, and they want to get into it too. And it's really inspiring to see that other people are being inspired. It keeps me going.
I see you've got the jackfruit.
It's a pink jackfruit. It's pink flesh. They're just being trialled here to see if they'll even survive the winter, and if they do, then I'll import heaps of seed and start breeding with them. Yeah, because in the glass house, I'm doing that at the moment.
Check that glass house out.
A lot dies in here.
The best intro.
Soursop said to be the best variety. Obviously, they're seed grown, so you're not actually getting a root of soursop, but when I import the seeds, I try to get it from the best varieties, so we're already starting with a good genetic basis. I try to get from cooler climates as well, so like over in Australia where their climate is cooler and similar to ours, I'll try and get the seeds from those mother plants. I think this is the key to growing Soursop in New Zealand, is on our Aotearoa rootstock.
One of the most incredible systems
I appreciate
keeps
that.
developing.
That's awesome. That's what I want to do, is inspire other people.
You're inspiring me.
So. Well, you inspire me, brother, a lot, so I appreciate it.
Hopefully he's inspiring you guys. Just leaving Wyatt's place, it was an absolute pleasure to meet him. He's a trove of knowledge. We're going to run some kind of event together in the future. Leaving with a bag full of goodies, tons of plants, cuttings, seeds, just a lot of admiration and inspiration from what he's doing. On to the next adventure. Made it to Wellington. It's windy here. Obviously had to come to the Ara Museum. Phenomenal. I could spend multiple days in here. Blood, Earth, and Fire was incredible. It was all about the transformation over the last few hundred years across the landscape, straining the wetlands, burning the forests, agricultural transition, land ownership, and just where that's going. It's going to agroforestry. It's been almost 8 years since I've been in Wellington, my first visit to New Zealand in 2016. It's so different. The pace of life, the traffic, makes me feel grateful to live at my agroforestry. But it's cool here. It's funny, it actually reminds me of some of the smaller towns in Oregon that I kind of grew up around. Just the old, like a lot of Victorian style neighborhoods, old houses that haven't yet been turned into these modern monstrosities. Just getting things organized. Tons of gear and equipment. Got some new shoes yesterday for Brazil and Costa Rica. What do I need to take with me? Just kind of getting back into the mode of knowing what gear is needed. This is like a trial trip, 3 weeks away. Some stuff I already realize I don't need, which is great. That's probably your recommendation. If you're going on an adventure, go on a really smaller version first. Go on like a 10% version first. See what things you don't actually end up using. The Pioneers crew is wanting a gear list, and you guys might find that interesting too. So I'll make a video of what equipment I'm bringing with me. Alright, well I've just made it to Lake Wairarapa, over the hills, into this basin. Very cool. Good morning. It's a cold one. On the way to a consultation today. Very exciting. So we're here in this paddock in the Wairarapa, doing some mapping and planning to transform this into a food forest and house site. Decades and decades of being overgrazed, no trees in the landscape whatsoever. This is the starting point to turn it back into a productive landscape with fruit trees, support trees, and just inviting people back into the landscape. Very exciting. It's really special to be here at Castle Point. This is one of those spots that I knew I wanted to come to. I finally made it. What a cool landscape. Very much like the Oregon coast that I grew up on. So cool. And to see some of the local history of the place, the Maori legends, why it got the name that it did. What a powerful place. So apparently I can make it up to that peak. Up there is going to be the view. Wow. Postcard view coming up. Castle Point, baby! Woo! Finally made it. Only took me 5-6 years. It's crazy to envision what this landscape would have looked like if it had all been left in forest. Maybe one day it can return to that. Ran into Paul, a local up here, and he does drone photography as well. And this is the same point on a sunny, beautiful evening. those moments where I really want to get into hang gliding. Fuck walking down, I want to dive off with a suit. I'm listening to a podcast and there's this idea from Thiel. What would you do if you had to accomplish your 10-year goals in 12 months? Regardless if you hit that goal or not within those 12 months, you're going to be way further ahead than the version of you who just sits and accepts that it's going to take 10 years. How quickly can you move towards those big goals? Producing content and putting yourself out there, sharing with the world what you want to do with your life and what you are doing, it increases your surface area for luck. And it just produces more opportunity to be lucky. Luck is just that combination of, preparedness and opportunity. Opportunity is everywhere, so all you have to do is just be prepared. And you do that by putting yourself out there and becoming good at the things you want to be known to be good for. Producing that evidence for yourself. Just a thought to leave you with as I take off from Castle Point. I can't breathe well. I need my nose strip on. All right, we're arriving at the ferry. Put this car in a big boat. Made it to the South Island. Almost. Was getting some work done, started feeling sick. Everyone was saying that the South Island is just like a different country. I know I keep saying this, but so much of New Zealand looks like Oregon. We've got these beautiful, steep coastlines, pine trees, beautiful water. Maybe it's just my experience in Oregon, but I feel like they're so similar. Anybody who's been to both, please verify that, because they look so incredibly similar across different ecosystems, across different kinds of landscapes. It's absolutely incredible. Alright, I just did a terrible thing and flew the drone on half battery. Terrible idea. I don't know if it made it back. Disconnected, was losing battery, tried flying it into this beach. I'm not seeing it. So, I go through about one drone every year. I take it into the trees and the forests, and I still have these close calls all the time after 5 years of flying. Alright, I rescued the drone. We're gonna go find somewhere. It's beautiful up here. We're gonna go find somewhere to freedom camp. What an incredible part of the country. There's our ferry that we took, leaving us. Just got off the phone with Joel, who is gonna be organizing a bunch of plant material for the upcoming event, which is a huge reason why we're coming down here in the first place. 3-day thing, all about agroforestry. That's the interesting thing about traveling, is you get to see the different land uses. Here in New Zealand, it's been that transition from burning the native forests, grazing, and planting in pine trees. This is the work that agroforestry gets to solve. I heard an interesting argument recently that said, of all the things that land use could be, right, pine plantations included, that's actually one of the least damaging ones, right? Because when you consider that all the cities that we have, all the parking lots, all the agricultural farms, horticulture, all of those tracts of land started out being logged in the same way. And the argument was this. The argument was that forests and forestry programs, even monoculture, pine plantation, is still better than parking lots, is still better than certain horticultural practices. It was an interesting take that I hadn't heard before. Definitely one to think about. It's interesting to see how the different regions set land aside for certain industries. And really, that's the work for agroforestry. It's the work for agroforestry to figure out how to change these systems, how to do them in different ways where they are more regenerative. Cut my hand open a few times doing that. These blades are plastic, but they're razor sharp when they spin so quickly. It's so fucking beautiful here. This really makes me want to do the TA, or the Aotearoa Trail. It's a through hike that goes all the way from the very bottom to the very top of New Zealand. I haven't done any through hikes yet, but it's on my list. Maybe when I hit 30. How cool would that be? Last night, stayed at this incredible dock camp. I was suggested to take the windy road towards Nelson, and man, is it paying off. It's just beautiful. I mean, look at this. Incredible. Off to see some tool suppliers. Gonna go see if we can get some saws, some hand saws, and things for the upcoming trips. Man, this is such a beautiful, beautiful part of the country. I'm gonna keep saying that, but it's true. One of the craziest things about road trips is that people live their whole lives, their entire existence, in these tiny little towns that you just pass through to stretch and get some salami and cheese. Crazy. Made it to Motueka last night. It's fucking beautiful here. First time being here. Incredible. Look at this. Alright. Made it above Motueka. Just ran up this trail. It's a beautiful place going up over the hills into Golden Bay. Just look at all those beautiful pine monocultures. How incredible is that, huh? Alright, on to Golden Bay. This is a beautiful track though. Water, the steady sculptor. Rainwater steadily dissolves calcium-enriched rock, such as the marble on Takaka Hill, which is where we are, carving out grooves where it flows. This hard marble is no match for water, which becomes acidic as it percolates through the soil. The result is dynamic rock sculptures, like you see here. Fascinating. I should read more of these to you guys because they're super interesting. It's a great way of like understanding the local ecology. It's a fascinating piece of ecology to go to the local riparian area. These riparian areas are a really great indicator of just what ecological succession species, what weedscape. A weedscape is basically the weeds, right? You have gorse right here. You have all these different nitrogen fixing things, the fast growing poplar, the acacia, the eucalyptus, the willow, broom. They're a really great indicator of what species work well already or in the landscape in your area. The whole stream is dry at the moment. It's late summer, early autumn. It'd be really interesting to see why that might be. All it takes is to look around in the local landscape and see, hey, they've deforested most of it. So it's a beautiful spot, really fascinating indicator. Super cool. Imagine meeting this creature on like another planet, but it was like 100 times the size. That would be terrifying. All right, put you back in a tree. Yeah. Like being in the canopy, and then a lot of the understory species. This is a beautiful old forest here in Golden Bay. It's got a spring running through it. The whole landscape here, it feels old. It has that energy. It doesn't have like secondary growth energy. It has close to climax community energy. Lots of space between the strata, really diverse layers. Just like a really established and well thought out and well managed food forest. There's different strata canopy layers, but it's not super dense with the same successional species, right? There's long-term old growth species, and there's this beautiful succession. We have so much to learn in agroforestry from these natural systems. That's what I've been trying to do for the last 2 weeks of this journey, is share different pieces of New Zealand, share the different landscapes, and see how ecologically we can look at things through that lens and how it might apply to agroforestry and ways in which agroforestry can actually solve a lot of these landscape level problems, right? The ecological problems that we see are just a result of the land use. And so as we explored New Zealand, as we explored traveling north to south over the last couple of weeks, it's been an opportunity to just see the different ways agroforestry can create a better future for us all. So we made it to the biggest spring in Australasia. This is the most clear water I've ever seen in my life. This is so cool. It's unbelievable. Like it's a spring. It's just water flowing out of the ground. It's so beautiful. And you can see way more with the polarized glasses. It's been an incredible 2 weeks. Been journeying down through to Wellington, seeing a bit of the Wairarapa, even made it out to Castle Point, which is actually here. And then across the ferry into Picton, along the really cool islands to Nelson, and then we've just today made it to our final destination here in Golden Bay. There's so much more to be explored. I will absolutely have to be coming back. Got the 3-day event coming up right here in Golden Bay, focused all about syntropic agroforestry and social systems. We'll wrap this up, and then the big adventure is coming. See you very soon. We just made it to our venue for the next 3-day event. It's incredible. There's tons of established fruit trees, these beautiful apples, peaches, there's hazelnuts, pears all over the place. Incredible foundation of traditional orchard, and how we're going to retrofit that into a diverse agroforestry system. We've got this epic tent set up. There's going to be about 30 people here. That's our job as humans, as animals, is to disperse the genetic material of these trees. And so using the abundance that is already around in the landscape to propagate more agroforestry. So we just spent the last 3 days up here in Golden Bay planting this incredible temperate agroforestry system. It's a temperate syntropic agroforestry system. I'm so excited to see how this unfolds. It's been an incredible weekend. Hopefully you got some value out of it. see you in Central America.